Welcome back, everyone. My name is Emily Gear. I'm a multidimensional channel and transformative energy healer. You will know this website very well if you've been following me for a while. This is my website where you can schedule a private healing session or reading with me. Also on this website are some readings and channelings by email, which are a little less expensive if that is a concern for you at this time. So definitely check that out. What I want to do today is talk a little bit about, or more pointedly, get some messages about the spring equinox, since that is today, which is March 20th, 2020. And I just want to see what comes out in the universe for this day. We did just have the Queen of Wands pop out. So I want to see what else wants to come out. It is the first day of Aries season. It is the astrological new year. And so fire is appropriate. It's a time when more light begins to shed on the northern hemisphere. More light from the sun begins to be shed on the northern hemisphere. That is accurate. Okay. I don't know why that took me 2 times to get it out. And so I feel like the idea of shedding light on things, bringing things to light, the micro becoming macro, that's another idea that they're showing me in my head right now. So however that might apply to you, or it might not apply at all, those are the feelings that I'm getting at this moment. But we have the Queen of Wands coming out, and I just want to ask Source Creator for whatever messages we are to receive at the time of the Spring Equinox 2020. A very strange time indeed, a pivotal time. Okay, we have the Ten of Swords, Queen of Wands and the Queen of Wands and the Ten of Swords. All right. I'm seeing like traffic pylons, those concrete traffic pylons, and so it's almost like a diversion of the energy, diverting it, blocking it in some cases in order to push it into a more appropriate or beneficial way. So I almost feel like there's an intervention of sorts going on, whatever that means, energetically on the planet. Energy coming in, being, oops, this is too many. I'm not going to take all these. Okay, energy coming in and being diverted to more appropriate receptacles is what they just said. I'm calling it an intervention here because that's how it feels, but it actually doesn't feel like, oh my God, you fucked up, now they have to intervene. It feels more like, all right, this was going to happen. This is just part of what happens. This is part of the evolution, which frankly fits with my general worldview anyway. I'm always of the opinion that you don't really make mistakes. You just might take some detours to have some different experiences, and it's all just perfect for you, whatever your situation is. And while it might feel imperfect, it's actually, oh, the Judgment card just popped out. It's actually kind of a wake-up call. It's a learning process. It's an experience process. It's a process of becoming who you really are, becoming your highest self, raising up. These people are rising up, so you're sort of the process of ascension involves this kind of stop and start. It involves this kind of I almost want to call it trial and error on our part, but there really are no errors. There's just a lot of different trials. Okay. Here is our Chariot card that came out last week. Just want to get a little more information about what that's going to be about. Asking for messages for the spring equinox. Okay. Chariot with the Six of Swords. Definitely a direction of the energy, and the energy is a healing energy. So it's been redirected where it needs to go, okay, within you. So what I'm getting, what that really means, instead of like, so I've been zoomed out on the globe. Now we're going to zoom in on the human being, okay? What that means for me is probably a lot of you are experiencing, well, of course we are, experiencing an interruption in your life because your energy is being rechanneled into a more beneficial, a more, I'm hearing just beneficial, so we're going to go with that, a more beneficial pathway. You're crossing waters that you would not have thought to cross before. And they're confirming thought is the right word. A, swords, but B, also because you've probably known this and you've probably had the feeling for a long time. You've had the drive to do something differently, maybe to, as we talked about in our last video, retreat, spend time with yourself, spend time, really connecting inside, spend time relaxing, resting, recuperating, recovering. You probably knew that these things had to happen, but now it's like a reset, all right? If you have been in touch in any way with yourself, if you have heard the call in the past on some level, I think that some of the changes that are taking place in our lives now are scary, frustrating, but also possibly welcome on some level. Now that is not to dismiss any fear that people might be feeling, any illness that's actually happening, any loss that's actually happening throughout the globe. This is happening. And it really is cringy when I get online and listen to people and they talk about it like either like it's fake or like it only matters, for only the older people will die from this or whatever, because that just sort of throws a certain group of people out in the trash like they don't matter. This is a serious situation that we're going through right now. So if you are lucky enough to be at home and maybe quarantined but not ill, and no one you love is ill, then you are lucky, And so this is an opportunity for you to allow this rerouting of your energy into a more healthy, sustainable, and healthy and sustainable way. Now, if you are part of those people who are ill or who do know someone ill or are suffering in some way, maybe you lost your job because of this, or maybe your business is closing or something like that, then know that the message is the same. But I certainly want to be sensitive to the fact that a lot of people are going through some really difficult stuff right now, because again, so cringy when I see it happen in some videos where we're not recognizing the way people are indeed suffering, whether we want to believe it or not. Okay. They're saying right now too, for some people, there is that need to think outside the box and to have a greater sense of compassion, that our world is not seen only through our own eyes. The eyes are greater. There are millions of eyes that we have to see this experience through, and each one is valid, including yours if you are not going through any of this, okay? But it's like that we have to be accepting of and open to the millions and millions and millions of other eyes that are seeing this, for whatever that's worth. They just give me the messages. I just bring them through. All right. What other messages do we have from the Akashic Records, the Book of Truth, for the spring equinox? Okay. Huge change. Huge global change. Wheel of Fortune. And this is also a huge personal change. It's a turning point. This redirection of this energy, this focusing on something different, maybe the focusing in on something that you already knew you had to do but didn't do. And so this acted as a planned intervention, okay? It is changing your life. Your life is changing. And I want to say it's for the better, but for a while you might not understand how or why. I just heard, and I don't want this to be discouraging to anybody, but by the time 10 years has passed, you will understand why, okay? you will understand within 10 years. That doesn't mean things won't get better before then, but by then, I feel like because that's covering a lot of people, a lot of different situations, by 10 years, you will have moved through the changes and understand why. What else, please? What else, Source? And here we go. This is almost the same message. We have the Death card with the Ace of Wands. And this is that dramatic and really profound change that's happening. I'm getting internally and externally. That this is a redirection of your, it may be even of your entire life path, all right, for a lot of individuals. If not that necessarily, then a redirection of how it is coming out and coming up in the physical plane, because what is changing right now is very much internally and externally. We've gone through plenty of cycles where all the changes were internal, right? But this is really remolding, is that a word? Whatever. Changing the external landscape while also changing the internal landscape. It is one of the biggest transitions you will go through, is what they're saying right now. We're always changing, transitioning, activating, upgrading, healing. And that's not to say that we weren't good enough before, because you were good enough before. I always have beefs with like normal, I guess, healing jargon. And I hate the idea of healing as being necessary because we were somehow broken or not whole before, right? And it's not about that for me. It's about the continued experiences which continue to gently, bit by bit, mold us into who we really are, who we signed up to be, not only when we came into this life, but when we were created as a soul, like who we are. So I got on a tangent as usual. So I feel like this is not about healing what was not right before. It is about taking the next step. And the next step is the first step in this new chapter, this 10-year journey. And again, when I say 10-year journey, I don't mean that it's going to be exactly like this for 10 years. I just mean by the time this cycle is done, what cycles in 10 years? What has a 10-year cycle? I'm just interested. Now I'm thinking astrologically. I don't know, but they're saying it's a 10-year cycle. By the time this cycle is done, you will have built a new foundation. I wonder if Jupiter goes 10 years. No, I feel like maybe it does, because it doesn't quite go a year in the zodiac or in one sign. I don't know. What they're saying is you will have built a new foundation. It will have made sense, okay? And that just makes me feel like I wonder if in 10 years we'll be back in Capricorn. I'm just talking out of my ass right now. Feel free to look that up. Because I don't know. Okay. Any more messages, guys? I feel like this is a very broad message, that we're getting less down into the little like personality stuff. Okay. Princess of Wands with Temperance. This feels like a relationship message. For those of you that come to my channel for relationships, and I've been sorely like not providing relationship stuff, but for those of you who come for relationships, I do feel like there is a reset in many relationships because of a need to switch the balance in some way. I think last time maybe this was a personal channel, maybe this was what we talked about last time. But at some point we talked about how some of our inner masculine energy is feeling maybe acting out because it is not feeling supported by the inner feminine energy. And so I feel like somehow with this redirection of energy on a larger scale, that you're getting this kind of reset, this new beginning. I just hate using the same words over and over again, but sometimes it just works. New beginning of your own personal energy patterning, the balance within your own energy field, and the way that that is connecting out, repelling and attracting individuals in your energy field. This is also changing to vibrate at a higher level according to the energy that's coming in, okay? And again, I'm getting that energy is coming in to be redirected in your life. So this really is a transformation. You've got the death card here. You've got the wheel of change. You've got the judgment card here, the call to the transformation. And you've got this temperance card, which to me is showing up as a kind of transformation through the balancing and changing of the way that your energy is working within you, not only within your physical body, but within sort of the entire cosmos, in what it affects, what you are pushing and pulling. So so I just heard that some of you might feel sick because of this, that this kind of balancing might make you feel off, specifically feel clammy sometimes. If that makes sense, almost like a little feverish or not, but not really sick. So I said make you feel sick. I think I mean more that you might feel a little off and clammy. They're showing me like the way like your temperature can kind of rise, like you might get flushed and then it'll go back down. That's the kind of thing that I'm getting. I don't think that this has anything to do with the illness, or if it does, then it is a very, I want to say synchronistic parallel. They just showed me on this card, literally I saw it happen, the way that like you would flush and the energy shows like an aura around, and I just heard the word a corona, like a corona around you, like an aura, and then it goes back in, and that's like the recalibration. I don't know what that means. But if you feel that, of course, take precautions in case you really are sick. But also, in addition, there is this change, this rebalancing, this sort of tuning up of the energy. I'm focused on that rainbow as well. Just makes me think higher dimensional. Yeah, a deepening of the intuition with the High Priestess coming out, which makes total sense. When you are being attuned to that higher dimensional frequency, there will not be the same. You will still be and should be anchored in the physical world. You came to this earth for a reason. And so I have learned that it is a mistake to reject it. And that is my story. That is my learning. Maybe you are completely different, but I'm just going to put that out there, that I have learned it is a mistake to reject your physical reality. But it is a part of our mission to bring it together. What's that word? To sort of is it alchemize? Maybe I want to bring the higher dimensional realities into the physical world, into the physical body, right? And so I've been spending the last year unrejecting my physical body. So I hope that makes sense to some of you, because I think, just a quick looking over of these cards, I think some of you are probably in the same position. 3 of Swords, Justice, 7 of Cups, 9 of Coins, Princess of Swords, and King of Wands. That something either in this lifetime, in our history, in our past, has caused us to go into a great imbalance by rejecting our physical world, because we wanted to be up in the clouds. We wanted to be up into the safer space, or what felt safer to us. And we've had to learn the sense of grounding and of being sovereign in our physical body, our physical reality, the Nine of Pentacles, and really become that, in addition to holding this higher vibrational, energetic command of our own energy. And this Princess of Swords, because she popped out, I want to make sure she fits into the story here. And what I feel for her is really, this is that confusion and that sense of fear. When you are not grounded in your physical body, you want to return in whatever way to this, warm, higher dimensional place. And yet here we are in this heartbreak and imbalance. And it is our job then to reground and to become fully in command of our energy on every level. Okay. And so they tell me this now. Why are you telling me this now? They tell me this now because this is part of the, what's the word they want to use? I just sort of see the picture of the things coming together. This is part of the process of us really understanding our physical bodies, cherishing them, getting to know them, taking better care of them, living inside of them, okay, while also being outside of them. But so many of us have been, way up there and like barely attached to this physical reality. And we cannot complete our mission without being in our bodies, okay? I have found that my physical body is an extremely sensitive instrument. I've said this to a million different clients because I like to teach them how to use their physical body to understand their intuition, to navigate their reality, to navigate the higher realms, because they're not different. They're ends of the spectrum of the same thing, okay? And I think that is one thing that we are really learning, is the reflection that we are, our higher self, to our physical manifestation. And just like our bodies are, our bodies are perfectly imperfect, right? Just as our souls are already perfect, but they're going through this process of enlightenment, of becoming more of what it really is, right? Does that make sense? I hope I'm making sense. I just want to find out if we have one final message before I close up here. So I have an appointment in 15 minutes. I'm just going to grab that stuff. I pulled the one that popped out right away was Archangel Uriel. Your emotions are healing, which enables you to open to greater love. I will heal you with I will help you release anger and unforgiveness from your heart and mind. And while this is a slightly different message than we've been talking about this whole time, we hold emotions within the physical body. We store them in there. It causes blockages. It causes literal physical illness. And so this is certainly a time to allow the energy to come and release that. Also, Uriel, I very strongly feel Uriel in the sun, in the energy of the sun. And even though I'm a Cancer sun, I, for whatever reason, relate heavily to the sun. I guess I have a lot of Leo placements, or I just like the sun. But in any case, I feel the sun strongly with Uriel, or Uriel strongly in the sun. And so I do believe that there is some activity going on with that sun at this time. Athena, inner wisdom. You know what to do. Trust your inner wisdom and take appropriate action without delay. We've talked about that twice. Your inner instincts tuning up. we talked about 3 times. Your inner instincts being stronger than ever because of the new energy, right? B, your physical body being an actual instrument for this intuition to become even more attuned, even stronger. And C, I can't remember what the third one was. There was another time that we talked about intuition. Oh, that you already knew a lot of the changes that were coming and you would need to make. Okay, some of this, none of us anticipated exactly what this was going to look like. But for me, for instance, I knew I had to step back. I knew I needed to rest. I knew I needed to let some of my injuries heal up. I knew I needed to work on my diet. I knew I needed to start cooking at home. I knew I needed to do all these things, and these are all very physical body things, right? There are also some mental things that I needed to do. I needed to be able to more efficiently pull into the everything is okay, I am okay right now space. You know what I mean? So you're going to have your own things. But what has helped me to do it, here, the next card that came out was Pele, Divine Passion. Be honest with yourself. What is your heart's true desire? I hope you didn't hear that burp that came out while I was talking. God, I am so awesome. Pele, Divine Passion. So number 1, connection with Source and the absolute trust in that connection. I am learning to completely and utterly surrender all fear to this divine source connection. And that absolutely is one of the biggest lessons that we are learning at this time. The other thing is connecting into this is I associate Pele with the Hawaiian Islands, which I also associate with the divine feminine, and have made a deep connection into that physical gridded space that is also occupied by the spiritual space. And so for me, it is a representation of how we are to be with our physical bodies and our spiritual bodies, right? And that to me is our representation of divinity. It is, we are also divine as we are physical and human, right? And then there's the message on this card, which says, be honest with yourself. What is your heart's true desire? And I think that's so important right now, too, because we've been covering over our heart's true desire for so long. And now we've been we've been pushed into a space where we cannot escape ourselves right now. We cannot escape what we need or what we know is true. And in fact, I feel the divine is helping by really channeling energy into where it needs to go. But we are a part of that. We have to accept it. We have to surrender to it in order for it to happen. Okay? In order for this deep and incredible transformation that's coming in to happen. Okay? I'm going to wrap it right there. Don't forget, if you do want to set up a session, here is my website. And I am available for a few more weeks, but then I will be in classes for a little while learning intuitive anatomy, speaking of the physical body. So I will not be able to take clients during that time. So definitely get scheduled now if you're interested. And thank you guys so much. Thanks for your likes, your subscribes, your shares. Always a pleasure. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.